Now today we are at our Book Heaven, that is the textbook center at the Sarit Center here in Nairobi, and we are just about to talk about a book on relationships yet again. It's the Relationship Meter, the Mark 4 Principle by Tom Ngolo, who is here with me. Tom, asante sana.
Karibu.
The Relationship Meter, what's that all about?
It's more to do with dating.
Right.
More to do with dating. We are saying you're in a relationship, you're dating, or maybe you are married.
Right.
You said come with risk.
What do you mean, come with risk?
Checkmate.
Right.
Nowadays they call it come with risk, not come with stay.
Right.
If it works out, well and good. If it doesn't, we part ways.
Right.
But I'm told the law is catching up with them. Yeah. So it's a book that I wrote from I'm saying Mark 4 principle. Mark 4, it's Mark chapter 4.
Right.
The book in the Bible.
Right.
And there's a parable about a sower. So we've read this parable many times.
Right.
Pastors have preached on this parable many times. And it's the only parable in the Bible that Jesus Christ gave the definition. We read the book of Genesis. God tells Abraham that I will bless you. I will make your seed to multiply as the stars in the sky. And when you look at how people date today, relationships that are going on around us, breakages, family breaking, marriages breaking, people getting in and out of relationships for various reasons. And this book actually looks at those various factors that lead into relationship breakdown and relationship struggles that you and I go through.
What are these fundamental things that have gone wrong in the relationships now, especially for someone who's living in Nairobi, that you'd want them to get this book and read?
Let's ask ourselves, where did this marriage thing come from? Where did it all begin? Right. It must have started somewhere. And the place it started, there must have been a good reason why. When you talk about people, what relationships that are, what fundamental issues that are causing people struggle in relationships, basically it's foundation. Right. Why are you getting into this relationship?
Well, Tom, there are a lot of young people who will be saying, well, I don't believe in what you're saying, or I'm simply not a Christian. Do we have fundamental truths that cut across in what you're proposing that said, whether you're a Christian or not, if you put this thing in whatever relationships you're having, then you are bound to be successful?
Well, if you're not a Christian, who are you? Where did you come from? Right. You must have come from somewhere. Right. If you're not a Christian, who are you? Do you believe there is a God somewhere?
Right. I mean, the Muslims and Buddhists and all the other manner of things, and so for them, are there principles that they can apply in the relationship that are actually in this book?
Yes, because this book actually takes you back into the beginning. In the beginning, there was something, and there is God somewhere. There is God. Right. There is a God somewhere. Whether you believe or not, there is a God. And now, this thing called marriage, this thing called relationship, it started somewhere. So basically what you're saying is, if your foundations are wrong, everything else will come down. Right. And now, the stability of a relationship is based on the foundations that you put in place. If your foundations are wrong, then everything else will be a struggle. Establish a foundation. Right. What is the foundational truths about your relationship, what you're getting into? Right. It has to start somewhere.
So Tom, in your book, you're basically proposing that all relationships, dating for young people, have to end up in marriage.
What else? Why are you dating? Just to have fun? Then what next?
Young people just want to have fun. That's it.
For what?
There's no next.
Exactly. Exactly my point. Right. That's where we've lost it. What was the intention? What was the intention of relationship? Let us go back to the beginning. Right. Where did the axe fall? let us go back to the point where it fell, that we establish whether we can recover that axe. Where did you lose yourself?
Right.
Trace back into your life.
Right.
Where did it all begin? Where did the crumble fall? That's where the answers are. In the situation you are in today, what led to that?
Right.
If people disagree, I cannot just point fingers at you. I cannot blame you. I would say you provoked me. You provoked me to disappoint you.
Right.
Yeah. We all contribute to a certain disagreement or a certain agreement. We are all answerable to that.
Right.
So what I'm trying to say is there is a beginning. There is a foundational truth.
Tom, you've dedicated a significant part of this book to address issues of sex in these kinds of relationships. Kindly take us through what are some of your convictions around sex in this kind of context.
What is sex? I will take sex and talk about now the part of sex where intercourse is concerned. Sex and sexuality. When God created man and brought this institution called marriage, I would say marriage is a covenant between male and female.
Right.
Right? And these people, when they enter a covenant, when God made a covenant with man, a covenant had to be sealed. And the rubber stamp of a covenant, if I may call it a rubber stamp, was the shedding of blood.
Right.
So marriage is a covenant. And when you enter into marriage, you're entering into a covenant, there has to be a rubber stamp or into that covenant. And the rubber stamp is the shedding of blood.
Right.
And that's why when you have intercourse with a virgin, there is shedding of blood.
Right.
So sex was meant for marriage. Sex was meant for marriage, for entering into a marriage covenant. In my book, I've talked about the effects of sex because pastors out there will say, do not have sex until you get married. But they do not give reasons as to why.
Right.
I have tried to just to give an illustration of the effects of sexual intercourse. E.g., I've asked a question in this book. How come when you're kissing somebody, when you're kissing each other, you close your eyes? There's some emotions that exchange during sexual intercourse. Those emotions, I can equate them to spirits. There's some transfer of emotions when you're having sexual intercourse and sexuality for that matter. So it goes way beyond having fun. In the process of having fun, what are you doing to yourself? What damage are you putting to yourself? Especially when you're having that sexual intercourse outside marriage, outside where God had intended it to be.
Do you get it from your readers who say probably you have a very right-wing kind of view of things? You're very conservative and very rigid way of looking at life.
When you get a book or someone proposes a book for relationships, in fact, I remember there's somebody who said, who I told I've written a book of relationship. I recommended them to look for it and buy and read. I know the content. It's about money, communication, and sex. My book is not all about that. My book is checkmate. And a few people who've read this book, they've said I call the spade a spade.
What is this one message that is your intention for every person picking this book to read today? What is this one message you want them to carry away with?
To get to people is marriage works. It's the way we go about it. We need to understand what marriage is all about. We need to understand how to relate the right way. We need to get to a place where if I'm getting into a relationship, I should know why I'm getting into it. I should know where I'm headed with it. If I'm in there to have fun, there is always the end of it. And where will it leave you at? It's about time we need to redefine ourselves. We need to go back to the beginning and redefine relationship as God intended. As God intended.
And that is the message you intend
That's
to
the
pass.
message that I intend to pass.
Right. Tom, if you had to pick your favorite few lines of the book, what lines would those be?
It says, relationships are a good thing, and as the Bible states, he who finds a wife finds treasure. Yet this very good thing has caused great pain and grief, leading to belief in many young people that marriage do not work, and those that do are merely out of chance.
Tom Ngolo, the author of Relationships Meter, thank you so much. Karibu sana, and thank you for your time.
Asante.
All right.